Journeys Ahead 2 Lineage Chapter 11 Secrets and Lies Part 1. Written and narrated by T.S. ProArt. Thanks again for coming with us to lunch, guys. The orange-haired musician exclaimed with glee to her and Void's old friend group. It was the following day after a long night of fun and recollection that has now led them all to be chilling in a pizza shop. Hey, no problem. It's been too long since we've spent some quality time together. Let's just enjoy it while it lasts. Ellie replied with a big smile as she took a large bite out of a pizza slice. Beezus, this pizza pie is bigger than my head, Coco muttered as she compared the slice in her hand to her massive, cherry-looking noggin. Hey, don't play around with your dishes, Ito. It's just how they roll. Taylor pronounced with a smirking expression as he took a bite out of his pepperoni slice. Wait, if your head is disconnected from your body, then how the hell do you eat? Ellie asked with a curious glare in her hazel eyes. I'd rather not say, Taylor nervously replied with a chuckle while continuing to bite into his dish. Amidst all the chit-chat and conversation, Void found himself to be in a silent state. Through it all, he was merely poking at his food with gentle jabs by a fork. His mind was like an hourglass, one that was constantly being flipped back and forth as his thoughts crumbled from side to side. The grains of sand within his conscience were Void's opinions on everything, resurrecting the sparks, hope for that, yet also fear, the unbelievable truth in his brother and friend still being alive, Matira. Hey, you okay, Blue? You've barely touched your pizza, Jada asked as she reached a hand out and placed it upon her husband's. Yeah, you've been kinda staring, my friend. Is everything alright? Muck awkwardly asked as he adjusted himself within his seat. It looks like you're trying to blow up your pizza with your mind, Coco joked, while Ellie just tilted her head. Yeah, I'm fine, the spark sharply replied, not wanting his thoughts to ruin the moment. Hey, where's Winona at? He then questioned, trying to change the subject. I'm here, the field reporter suddenly cried as she ran in through the door with a smaller person beside her. Turning their heads, everyone was met with the pink blonde human and the friend she had mentioned the previous night. They were a bullhorn human, a bit on the shorter side with a little nervous expression upon their face. They had gentle green skin, tiny little eyes, with waves of brown hair and yellow bronze-colored horns. This bullhorn was wearing a long-sleeved purple light shirt that was covered in an almost utility-like vest, one filled to the brim with pockets. This fella also wore soft tan khaki pants that ended with brown boots. The last real thing of note was the jar of pickles under their arm. Hey guys, Jada called as the duo approached the group. Hi everyone, this is Andy Helm. I met them when the Christmas fair went ablaze, Winona exclaimed as the two took a seat beside Void and Jada. Hey, Andy greeted with a soft and nervous tone as everyone got settled in with their introductions. The moment was nice, all things considered. People were talking, laughing, but Void all the while just sat there in a state of deep thought. His mind kept going back to what Sika said yesterday, that it was only going to get worse. There were still a couple of conductors out there, a couple that could become an unknown horror at any given moment. As Void's thoughts began to grow heavier and heavier, he was suddenly halted by the sound of an audible crunch to his side. Turning, Void met the chill stare of Andy as he ate a pickle raw. What are you doing? He asked with a hint of disgust as Andy turned to Void and smirked. Not really a big pizza guy, so I brought my comfort food, they said, which left Void raising an eyebrow. Your comfort food is raw pickles? He asked. You look grossed out, Andy retorted, the Void's confusion. My brother in Christ, that's foul. The Spark stated. Hey, don't knock it till you've tried it, my dude. Andy finished as he gestured the already half-eaten pickle to Void's face. Suddenly stopping to the sound of the restaurant TV booming to life, Void, as well as the others, turned their attention to its screen, seeing the words, breaking news in big, bold letters. The next thing they knew, the screen cut to an owl woodland human reporting, talking in a desert landscape, full of native structures as well as pink and white stone pyramids. Hello everyone, I'm reporting here from the great lands of Soljip to discuss this— Whoa! Within the background of the live feed, Void and the others watched in shock as a massive, wriggling form bursted out from the sands in an arched shape. For only a moment, they could see dark yellowish-brown skin and what looked to be chunks of yellow crystals surface and then descend back into the massive array of red velvet sands. Jesus! A massive creature of some kind! We are unsure of what has suddenly surfaced from the sands and is causing panic to the nearby city! The reporter was then cut off again, as a blurry, Titan-sized form exploded from the sands and went back in once more, leaving the reporter and their cameraman to start running. The citizens of the nearby city Gaza have described it as some kind of giant worm-like beast. It could be another colossal— Oh, beast! They screamed, as a large yellow beam shot up from the sand like a beacon, destroying a passing fighter jet and having what Void recognized to be a parking lot-sized Novaroon at its blast point. The camera then cut to black, before the screen went to a "We'll be right back" card. Coincidence? I think not. Winona whispered with shock before raising her hand to her mouth. That wasn't another colossal, was it? Ellie asked as a series of murmurs erupted in the conversation from around the pizza enjoyers. Not even a minute after this broadcast ceased, the loud voice of Evelyn suddenly came through the matter extractor that was still attached to Void's metallic body, and she sounded panicked.
Void! We located the other conductors. It's bad. We need you here now.
She bellowed as the audible sounds of both Core and Atlas arguing could be heard from the background. Within an instant, Void slapped his arm to cease the sound, but everyone had already heard the odd noise. They all had heard it. Slowly looking back up and taking a long breath, Void gently stood tall and quickly sputtered out, Excuse me for a second, he said in a worried tone as he leaned down and kissed Jida on the cheek. Wait, Void! Jida exclaimed, but the Spark had already turned heel and left the restaurant in panicking steps. Void! She shouted again, before slowly attempting to get up, but falling back down due to her baby weight. You don't have to— She weakly groaned, before Ellie and Winona came over to help her back up. Everything alright? Ellie asked, as all the others stared with confusion. Who just called him? Taylor questioned, making Jida settle back into pretending she didn't know the truth. Family junk, I think. Important crap. She tried to play off, which left most of the friend group more curious than accepting. Be careful, babe, Jida quietly whispered as she felt her belly cramps start to worsen. With his crest-shaped portal opening and him sliding into the reformatter moments after, Void, with an uneasy set of thoughts, rushed his way towards the vat of matter where all the Sparks, except for Matira, Talos, Joby, and Cogson, had been discussing with a conflicted nature. Is Matira not gonna answer? What the hell are we doing? She's been missing for over a day! They're all growing in power! Alice shouted in a panic as Void approached. We need to figure this out. The conductor's activity levels are rising in mass. If we don't do something now, the people of this world will be harmed. Cora also spoke aloud, as Atlas smashed his fist on the matter vat's control deck. I'm not sure if we'll be able to manage without Matira here. She's not responding to anything. the four-legged spark said through tense words that left Void a bit confused. Guys, calm down! Lee exclaimed with worry as both her and Harmony tried to push Atlas and Core away from one another. We need to think as a team here. We should fan out and take the rest out with what we can, Sika stated as she displayed several images of conductors wreaking havoc. A giant sandworm in Earth's desert region, a large spider in a city, a magical book taking form, and a massive white tiger-looking thing. It looked bad. Very bad. This, from what Void could see, was an all-hands-on-deck situation. What the hell is happening? Void then shouted with panic, which got everyone's attention. Chaos, little brother. Chaos! Core shouted back, while Atlas pinched the skin between his eyes. Look, I'm gonna go talk to Cogson. He'll be able to find her. Just, God, I don't know, figure it out. Atlas rambled before nodding the Void with a greet until just up and leaving the room.
Atlas, we need you here!
Evelyn bellowed, leaving Void to just tilt his head in curiosity. Oh my God. He then gasped upon looking to the screens, seeing so much more havoc raining down upon Earth's regions. They've all taken form? Little Spark said, as several golden portals opened up behind him. Yes. The last few conductors are not happy. Our best bet is to go out solo for each one, Core stated as he turned towards his fellow Sparks. Lee, Harmony, Sika, and Evelyn, do you think you can handle these on your own? Core asked while gesturing to select conductors. Yeah. Wait, what about you? Sika questioned as she eyed down Core with ponderous eyes. No. Are you going to track the... She then said, with Core nodding his head. Yes. I was going to ask Void if you wished to help me with this one, Core stated, making the little spark raise his eyebrow again. With what one? He asked, as Core revealed the conductor he had his sights upon, one that was burning red and shimmering with an ethereal power. Matter Conductor Tarask. She's the most powerful of the bunch. Without a doubt, the deadliest, Theodore Novison revealed as he eyed Void down. Brother, I ask of your help. But as always, if you'd rather stay than... Before Core finished, Void deployed his battle helmet and stood with an electric surge coursing through his veins. I've got your back. Nodding, Core along with the other Sparks deployed their helmets as well and got ready to depart. Very well. Best of luck to you all, Theodore Novison boasted as he shot open a portal to a place Void had only seen upon the map. Mount Tamashi, he recognized, the largest mountain on Earth. See you all then. Good luck, Lee exclaimed as she leapt into a portal. Till then, Harmony added as she too left, with Evelyn not too far behind. Good luck, Sika bid farewell as she retracted her mask and gave a kiss to Core's cheek. With the metal slab retracting back over, Sika then nodded down the Void before she left too. You ready? Core asked with a golden surge under his metal body. Born ready, Void replied as the two sharply turned and leapt through the portal, all with a sense of dread in their souls. With his golden portal opening, both Void and Core stepped their way out into a rainy, nighttime setting. The clouds were as dark as can be, while hints of the moon's majestic light exposed itself from in between the seams above. Descending down, the pellets of water crashed upon yet another important landmark of the world. Core and Void had entered the region known as East Asia. This environment was full of mysterious plant life and an array of calming and almost spiritual ways of life. The people in this region were both calm and wise, tall plant-looking folk that had horns atop their heads. They were known as the Zengai folk, or the more common term, bullhorns. And this was their land. Where the two brothers had entered, however, was a national park known as Kensaro Trail, in which you could hike the tallest landmass in the world. Alright, the last conductor is atop the mountain, Core affirmed as his matter tracker beeped and buzzed towards the mountain's top, that to their shock, seemed to be emanating a red electrical glow. Let's move, Theodore Novison then boasted, as he began to make his way forwards with Void in tow. As the two approached what appeared to be a large yellow torii gate to enter the park, they began to make out a lot of details within. The trees and foliage were mixed with pink and red leaves that blew within the small stormfall. The path ahead also appeared to be created out of cobblestone material, having the appearance of several crunched rocks mashed together to make a long rectangular curved pathway. The most eye-catching of all was Mount Tamashi itself. Although being covered by trees, the Sparks could see that it started off as a greenish moss formation that soon went up to stone and finally ended with a pinkish-white grass at the top. It was truly a sight to behold, the Sparks thought, as they crossed the gate and began jogging their way through the path. Core, wouldn't you prefer it if I drop a portal? Void asked aloud as the older Nova-Sun continued to keep his run in pace. No, this conductor has been stabilized. Us dropping in with our essence like that would only feed it more. Core explained, as he and Void both glimmered like blue and yellow nightlights. Not to mention, that sparking at the top means it's already begun to procreate. Core explained, leaving Void to raise an eyebrow to the strange term he had used. Procreate? He asked, as the two turned heel and began to ascend a flight of stone stairs that surrounded the wet forestry. Yes, Tarask's energy is unlike the others. It's the one that really holds all the conductors in place. Its red essence signifies that the matter is at its most powerful state. At that rate, the beast form begins to shed their crystals, and from those crystals, spawn offspring of some kind. The older Nova-Sun explained with a wave of hand gestures as he and Void ran out the top and stumbled upon a crater in the ground. It clearly belonged to the beast once it crashed, and it was massive. I'm assuming you've seen it firsthand? Void speculated, as he knelt down towards the impact, examining its damage till taking notice of a set of claw marks going up a steep slope. Void and Core figured that it had to have been evolving for at least 3 days, which wasn't a good sign. I've worked with these conductors for a long time. When me and the others discovered their beastly attributes, I did my best to understand them. Tarask, or as Atlas loves to call her, Big Red, is the most aggressive and evolved. I'm not sure what form she has taken, but I'd rather stop it now and find its offspring than speculate. Core went on before leaping forwards and ascending the mountainside with his light matter arms. Nodding to his brother's words, Void leapt forward and started to climb after Core, using his Nova Blades to ascend the mountain face. The two of them both leapt from rock to rock as they traversed their way forwards to the next landmass above. Alright, that sounds dangerous, but knowing us, we can handle anything. We're Nova-Suns. It's not like we've dealt with worse. Void said with a smirk, as the two brothers were now side by side mid-climb. Ha! That we are, little brother. That we are. Finally climbing up to Tamashi's mountaintop, Void and Core caught their breath as they helped one another up. Once upon solid ground, they stood defiantly at their destination. A mixture of both red trees with that of crystal white grass greeted them all, while the rain continued down in a continuous pour. That, however, wasn't the most intriguing aspect of this upper sector. Rather, it was what it had become that made things all the more eerie. Glowing red and black matter moss practically engulfed the once beautiful and sacred grounds, going around in all sorts of patterns to even ascending itself up trees and jutting out rocks. Sprouting from this moss were small to medium and even semi-truck-sized ruby crystals that illuminated their surroundings into an almost hellish haze. Specks of ash-like energy glinted off their forms and into the air, akin to how snow blew in the frigid wind. After taking it all in, the Sparks began to make their way forwards, with their weapons activated at the ready. Oh man, what did it do? Void asked, as pulses of red power surged within the moss below their feet. You're nested. These crystals are its eggs. It appears to have made a home for itself. Core expressed with disgust, as the crystals grew brighter and brighter the further they walked in, revealing the blurry embryos within. This is exactly why I'm nervous through the process of resurrecting the Sparks, Core. This is horrific. Void replied as the pair entered upon the center top of the mountain, that almost looked akin to an artist's depiction of a mystical crystal world. Speaking of horrific, where's that nasty glob of a spud anyways? Hey, Tarask! Come on out! We climbed all the way up here for you! Void chanted out as he spun around in a 360 motion. Came all the way through the rain just to find you! Void went on as Core, who was beginning to smirk at his brother's snippy attitude, suddenly fell to a stern state. Void, he bluntly expressed, as he began to shimmer brighter than ever before, while the smaller spark was looking off to the side, unaware of a camouflaged set of crystals that slowly swayed out of the way, being connected to a large tail as a massive thagomizer. Come on, lady! I already dealt with your siblings. Cut the mysterious attitude and let's dance 1-to-1. The younger spark continued, trying to make his brother laugh, all while unaware of the creature emerging from behind a sharp incline of the mountain's boulders. Void! Core shouted again, as he deployed his Nova Blades in a worried posture. What? The blue spark asked as he turned to face his brother, only to see the fear in his orange eyes, while glints of bright red made itself known within the visor's reflection. Upon seeing this, Void's confidence dropped to a dour and more dry tone. With arms lowering and face falling into a disgruntled stare, Void only said one more thing in a small moment of fleeting pride. She's right behind me, isn't she? He asked in the most disappointed way imaginable, as a deep, rumbling growl erupted from where he had imagined the monster to be. Slowly turning around, Void set his oval-shaped eyes upon what he could only describe to have been a dragon from old medieval legends. Looming over from its created incline, the beast had its claws gripped upon the sides of this rock formation, and towered above both sparks with a drooling maw. Tarask's form looked to be the most stable and realized out of all the conductors. She was at least 30 feet tall and 50 feet in length. Her skin was leathery and a blackish gray, pulsating with veins of hot magma red beneath. Her forearms only had 2 ruby crystal claws for fingers, while a set of red-shaded wings stretched from her elbows and up to the sky, all while being donned with sprouting, jagged crystals that sparked with bright maroon electricity. Tarask's neck was also long and jagged with these crystals, all leading to an 8-eyed head that looked akin to a snapping turtle. Going across her neck and all the way down to her tail were even more red crystals that peaked in size at the hunchback of Tarask's form, all before returning to smaller edged blades that made up a disjointed thagomizer at the tail's end. Slowly crawling forward with a permanent smile on its face, the conductor began to croak and almost cackle, before standing upon its back legs and expanding its wings in an impressive display. No spark saw, it exclaimed in perfect spark tongue. Did she just say? Void questioned as he prepared for battle. Yeah. She just said fight, spark, fight. Core answered, as the two brothers prepared for what could have been their most trying challenge yet. Leaping off its perch in an almighty display of wing power, Tarask soared herself up and quickly dropped down upon the two sparks. Its claws and crystals appeared to be ignited with a blood-red glow the further it made landfall, meaning only one devastating thing. Move! Core commanded towards his brother as the two of them leapt backwards and away from the ground-smashing titan. Leaping to his right, Void rolled across the pulsating red moss, while Core quickly leapt back upon his left and stretched his matter arms towards the beast's glowing red head. As the dragon made its move, a small wave of electricity arose in an arched shape that only dissolved mere feet away from the sparks' bodies. With his arms, Core took hold of one of the beast's jagged cheek-side crystals. With this, the older Novasun pulled himself up and atop the dragon's neck flaps, to then begin ramming his blades into the side of its neck. Although faint, Core saw that within the monster's apple core, there was a hint of pulsating red, one that he felt familiar with. The conductor is in his throat! I can feel its pulse! Core exclaimed as he began to quickly flip from one side of the beast's neck, then to the other, attempting to slice open its thick hide to get inside. "What do you need me to do?" Void wordily asked as he got back upon his feet and prepared to listen for his brother's commands. "Word out! Aim low and keep striking till we get her down!" Core exclaimed with fury as Tarrasque began to sway her head and spin around with a heavy, violent tail swipe. Scowling beneath his mask while taking notice of the crystals jutting out of the monster's back legs, Void began to estimate a maneuver. The energy that buzzed off their builds all but told Void that any disruption to their hardened shape would result in a catastrophic blowback. Deploying his axe, Void dove under another tail swipe and landed forwards in a kneeling rifle shot position with an arm cannon ready. Summoning his spark-born power, Void released a thundering wave of power bursting out of the barrel in a devastating blow. As his energy connected to that of Tarrasque's, the crystal quickly ignited with the unexpected energy spike and erupted with too much force to its build, completely blowing the entire back leg of the beast clean off. Roaring in anguish, Tarrasque raised her right claw up and swiftly ripped Core off her skin. In a smoke-exhausting gruff, she threw him to the side of the rock face, whilst turning to look upon the other spark below seconds after. "Core!" Void cried for only a second, but quickly found that both him and the conductor locked eyes. Not even a second after this, she began to charge up a Nova Beam, one that made the air fall to static. "You've got to be kidding me!" Void croaked out, as Tarrasque's crystals ignited red before suddenly blasting out an electrification of glowing red spark essence. Thinking fast, Void opened a portal below his feet and dropped in, proceeding to re-emerge above the dragon midair. Waving its head like an enraged bull, Tarrasque blindly blasted the ground, throwing up dirt that caused more crystals to arise. In a way, it was as though there'd be a type of ice breath. Instead of being frozen liquid nitrogen, there would have been minerals encasing you instead. Dropping back down with anger in his heart, Void prepared to slash his axe atop the largest crystal adorned upon the creature's back. Yet, before he could make impact, the beast caught the spark out of the corner of her eye and swung her tail in a roundhouse formation. The sharp clash, Void was smashed hard into the side of a nearby rock face, dropping his axe and leverage in the process. Hitting the ground hard, Void rolled to a stop while his blade landed headfirst a few yards away. Groaning, the younger Novason slowly and carefully pushed himself back up, but was met by a glowing, ready-to-attack jaw of Tarrasque's might. "Come on, lady, give me a break!" Void groaned as he prepared to drop another evasion portal. Yet, as the massive Goliath blasted down once again, Core quickly leapt back in from the storm with a pair of spinning orange Nova runes ready to top his fist. Landing in front of Void, he clashed the two spells together and created a massive rune shield to protect his younger sibling. Blasting down, Tarrasque unleashed another gust of might to the sparks that was now just barely being held back by the older Novason's essence. "You okay?" He asked as Void fully stood and ignited a massive rune himself, in turn mixing with his older brothers and forming a larger shield. "Are you?" Void asked right back as the two brothers combined their strengths and knocked the blaster fire back in a harsh hit upon the conductor. "Fine," Core replied as he stretched his arms out and took hold of Void's axe. Pulling back, he pried the weapon from the ground and swiftly returned it to his brother. "You also dropped this," he mentioned, stating the obvious in a sarcastic tone. The conductor boasted as her back leg and punctured skin regenerated to full form. "Did I just hear that right?" Void asked as both him and Core readied themselves side by side. "Yeah, something along the lines of crushing our skulls, I think," Core replied as the large dragon rose herself up with its wings to the air. "These are coming from parts of Matira's essence?" Void asked, leaving Core to wince and eye the monster down. "The worst parts of it," he answered as the beast struck again, swinging itself forwards at a slow-looking but truthfully fast speed. The massive beast brought its tail up and around, before smashing it hard upon the ground. Leaping out of the way, both sparks rolled out of impact range, but had to be quick on their feet seconds after. Within the air, the massive conductor began to fly in a circle, while dragging its Stagomizer behind it. "Tira's might!" Void exclaimed as he looked over his shoulder to see the large ball of spines gaining upon him. With nowhere else to go, Void did the only thing he could think of in that moment. Running out to a slanted crystal, he leapt forwards and landed down upon its jagged shape. Using this, he kicked himself off into a backflip, going up and over the red glow of death by a hair. Once above, the spark took his chance to strike and reared his axe back around. Charging it with a surge of electrical energy, Void thrusted it down and was met with a bright gust of red shattering might. Covering his eyes while crashing back upon the moss, Void stumbled to a roll while Taras shrieked in a world of hurt. From the impact alone, half of the creature's tail disappeared to muck and slime, resulting in the beast crashing right back down upon the mountain face. Landing hard and practically breaking its own nest, the conductor rolled over its eggs in rage as it crumbled and left the door open for the sparks to make their move. Leaping over with a twirling flip, Core ignited his blades and slashed down upon the creature's apple core, slicing over and over, though breaching the skin flaps and exposing the layer just before the conductor itself. A red, burning glow emanated from this wound, as Core readied his matter extractor to get it out. Yet, before he could strike, Taras rolled her head around and clamped Core within its bladed jaws. Catching it before he could have been punctured, Core found himself with his legs pushing the lower jaw back, while his hands pressed firmly atop the roof of the conductor's mouth. But he couldn't deny that the strain he was feeling was immense. Core? Void spouted as he stood back to his feet. Snarling with a flap in its wings, the beast suddenly lifted itself off the ground and began to ascend into the air, taking Core with her as it did so. Core! Void shouted in a panic as he got up on his feet and rushed the monster. Jumping forwards, Void extended his free arm out and lashed upon the beast's lower talons. Holding on tightly, Void proceeded to quickly pull himself up and after the creature, that was moving rather quickly for its size. "Holy crap!" exclaimed the younger Novason as he recoiled himself up and upon the beast's lower back. Rain smacked and stabbed upon Void's metallic skin as he did his best to hold on. The air was cold, unnaturally so. If something wasn't done, they'd surely freeze up from the dropping temperature. Up and up they went, till crossing the threshold between the clouds and land. Entering to the beautiful and clear upper skies, the moon, now in full illumination, dwarfed the sparks in the distance, as her outline shimmered brightly within its titanic haze of light blue. "Let him go!" Void shouted in rage as he crawled forwards and raised his axe back up. With a distressed yell, he rammed its burning end into the back crystal of the beast. With an electrified pulse of power, a blue spine-shattering surge injected itself into the conductor's created body, looking to almost shatter its innards and bones within a flash. At that same time, the familiar sound of a spark charging itself up came from the beast's mouth. Powering up, Core ignited his horns and body into a flame-hued shade that made the beast look as though its mouth was on fire. Combined with his brother's electrical strike, Core unleashed a fiery blast from his body that blew Taras' head clean off, rendering it into a weakened husk of flesh that, if not dealt with now, would regenerate. As their ascent ceased, the lifeless state of Taras began to descend back to the world below. As they fell off the monster, the two sparks both quickly maneuvered side by side to be upon the creature's neck. Yet, as they both reached, the monster's head began to quickly reform, as a skeletal face regenerated with a disgusting, clicking, and merging bones from its form. "Void! Stab it now!" Core cried out as he dug his hands into the slashed open apple core and pried it open for extraction. Crossing back through the clouds, the three returned to their natural atmosphere, all while the inner flesh of the conductor began to cover its skull and began to charge up the Nova Beam. Without hesitation, Void activated his three-spiked weapon and stabbed it with a bellowing shout. With a sharp whirl and bright red light, the conductor's essence was swiftly and violently ripped away from its shaken form, leaving its charged-up blast to misfire and explode from opening holes in its fading body. And then, from smaller tears, the solidified body of Taras fell to a lifeless husk, as the last of the conductor was finally absorbed and contained with a satisfying trap. "I got it!" Void shouted as Core interlocked his left arm around Void's right and kicked off the creature's mass. Now separated, they both watched as Tarrasque's body combusted to a red flame and dissolved to mere ashes, while what remained mashed and smashed itself within its newly contained state. Remarkable work! Kor cheered as the two Novasun brothers looked down, seeing that they were heading straight for a lake behind Mount Tamashi. Oh, brace yourself! Kor then cried as he pulled in his brother close and summoned forth several sets of Nova runes to conceal them in a bubble-like shape. Down and down they went, going faster and faster, until soon enough they made an impact, creating one of the largest cannonballs that Earth had ever seen. Arising out of the water in a coughing fit, Void splashed his arms against the small waves while deactivating his mask, letting water that had culminated within spill out. Arising alongside him popped out Kor, who acted out in a similar manner. Together, the two sparks turned their heads and shook off water from their horns, all until they both noticed a shoreline up ahead. Without needing to say a word, the two sparks quickly began swimming towards safety, all while fighting against the rainy storm from above. Crawling upon the shore, the two brothers looked almost akin to castaways, as they both grunted with strain and turned to lay on their backs within the damp sand. Now resting side by side, the two caught their breath and looked up towards the partially rainy cloudy sky. From in between the cracks of gas, the moon shined through, creating a small glow upon their forms. For a good few seconds, the two rested and just blankly stared towards the sky. That was, until Void began to softly chuckle to himself. Curiously turning his head, Kor watched as his brother slowly but surely began to rise in pitch, his laughter getting louder and more ridiculous to their circumstances. However, the older Novasun soon smiled, and he himself began to chuckle. They were alive. They were soaked, but most importantly, they stopped the last conductor. Or so they hoped. To say the least, a good laugh was well deserved for the two of them. I'm in so much pain. Returning to the reformator in a golden light, the Novasun brothers stepped out and upon the main control deck of the Mattervat station. Before them was Atlas, Cogson, and Joby, who happily squealed and ran over to her father and uncle. "You're back!" She cheered in glee as Kor scooped his little one up into his arms. "Hey, Pumpkin," he greeted, when all of a sudden, all the other sparks returned, all with conductors captured in their capsules. "Got it!" Harmony sang as she shook some slime out of her hair. "Nearly died, but I got mine," Lee too boasted as she stepped out beside Void, making her instantly feel flustered. "Oh, hi Void," she said in a softer tone. "Hey," the younger Novasun replied, feeling bad that he hadn't had the time to catch up with his old friend just yet. Wait, is that the rest of them?" Alice questioned, while looking at the glowing orbs of power. "I believe so. I had to get two, but hey, let's get this party started and put him in," Sika exclaimed before being cut off by Cogson. "Not yet, my dear. We won't be able to start the process without Matira," the old-timer stated, as everyone slowly surrounded him. "Wait, what does that mean? Why can't we just put them in?" Void questioned, as the old spark adjusted his glasses. "No pun intended, dear boy, but Matira is the conductor of the conductors. If they were all imported together now, they wouldn't be stable and possibly they could escape again. Matira must be here to reenact power," Cogson explained as a worried look was struck upon his face. "Okay, so where is she?" Harmony questioned, to which Cogson pulled out a reality map of all things. "That's the thing, my dear. Her life signal is in a dimension that is off the charts. It took me a long time just to even pinpoint it. It's faint. With curiosity beating in their hearts, all the sparks looked at one another, wondering what that could have meant. Wait, you have a Materia tracker? Void asked. All Sparkborn armor has life signals attached. Safety precautions. Hers, for some reason, isn't properly being transmitted. Not to mention Talos is just up and gone without so much as a signal. The old man went on as he began to download the location of their goddess.
Weird. She never leaves without telling us. She could be in danger.
Evelyn worriedly stated, as her and Atlas now stood side by side. Something's definitely off. I've never seen this reality space before. It's all fuzzy, undetermined. Void added as he looked at the broken signal, seeing it to just be a bunch of static. Wait, Grandma Materia and Uncle Talos are missing? Joey questioned as Cogson quickly opened a portal to a world so bright they couldn't even see it. I don't know, little one, but it's best we make sure they're alright. This is very out of character for them. I would assume Talos is with her as well. Those two are practically inseparable. He went on before Lee suddenly spoke. Wait a second. Are we about to go on one big group mission? She asked while eyeing Gluppy in the corner, who just sat asleep by the matter vat. If she is in trouble, we best be prepared. Without her, we won't be able to finish what we started. Core stated while taking a few steps forward. If she is somehow in danger, we owe it to her to make sure she's alright. The bigger spark went on as he marched to the portal. With a turn, Core looked down the void, giving him the option to turn away again if he so wished. However, Void gave a firm nod and looked to the portal while also taking a step forward. If she really is in trouble, we gotta help her. No spark left behind. With agreement in their hearts, all the sparks turned heel and made their way towards the golden light, feeling nothing but dread for their creator's unknown condition.